Hello everyone, Richard here for Ultimate Mode Replay. I wanted to show a robust, repeatable way to do Belgrade that gets you the decisive. It's way less risky than what you saw from Bracada and Goose. And I basically consider the map solved. It's not a map wipe, it's just a very clean way to get a decisive. And you're going to get a decent amount of prestige at the same time. So the key idea is my two paratroopers in Oladir will fly south. One's going to hang out here, and at the right moment, when the last counterattack starts, this guy will sneak in the back to hit this objective. Oladir lands at the airfield, and will go in and deliver a very powerful blow on the artillery piece. And we'll get more into the one delicate issue with my approach when I get there. The other paratrooper will land, go up here, snatch this free hex, and then come back south to help seize this. The next thing that I do is I push really hard in this direction, and I break through here, and I clean this attack up as fast as possible. And everybody floods across the bridge, and we are going to hit the south as hard as possible. Behind. We're going to hit Belgrade from behind. The other thing that I do is I leave behind a fairly strong force with artillery to just slowly mop this up and take this out. And eventually this triggers the final, or this triggers a counterattack from over here, and then you can do whatever you want with it. I ignore all of this whole part of the map. Later, I kind of expand a bit, and I take this airfield and that open hex. I'm sure if I was more efficient, I could grab this hex as well. And you're going to find I wipe out most of the units that are part of the counterattack. And I do it very safely. I had 126 prestige spent in elite replacements, and almost something like 60% of that was for Oladir, which we'll get into. And this is very repeatable. With one exception, I don't think you'll need to reload. And probably you won't for that exception either. Oh, I should slow this down. So I basically think the map is solved with only potentially minor tweaks that a player could do. And I have a Panzer IV. SE Panzer IVs perform better than Panzer IIIs in 41. I think Bracada has statistical evidence for that. So I'd recommend getting Panzer IV, SE Panzer IVs. There we go. You're going to see a totally different approach. I am ignoring side objectives for the most part. I also have a 3-star Panzer III, and it's strong enough to deter the enemy from attacking it. I also borrowed one of Soren's fighter traps. This auxiliary infantry will draw a plane, which is good. Whoa. And Oladir was on the airfield, and he's flying to safety. Good hit from my 7-1. And so these planes have been crushed. In turn 2, it's safe to do whatever you want with your planes because the fighter doesn't spawn until turn 3. And now all of this artillery is concentrated in one area, which is really convenient. I'm trying to get kills on my units. That's why I didn't kill it with the auxiliary. Also, the cavalry, one group splits off to go west and the other goes south. And they have two different tasks. And this is an ambush that should work because that infantry unit is active. So that actually solves a problem. This auxiliary unit draws out a cavalry, which is nice. So in turn 3, I've ripped a major hole in the line. Now I need to kill that cavalry. Yeah, so I have 3 level bombers and a lot of artillery. That helps. So on turn 3, you can already see I'm blowing by the defenses. The fighter had nothing to attack, so now all of my anti-aircraft get in the action. So this little, I'm going to have 3 artillery and these 3 infantry, and they're just going to grind the west down, and you have plenty of time to do that. My planes can help de-entrench. And then I pull this slick move. I can force it to surrender. The Panzer III is ripping up light tanks right now. Boom, and they're blinded. The anti-tank guns in the trenches are passive, so they will never attack you even if you put anything next to them. So that's a really useful fact to know on this map. So I'm on turn 5 and I'm already de-entrenching this target. It's really important to my strategy to completely smash the south. So actually, can I pause here? Let me pause. Okay, this is very subtle. So this is, a 6 strength Romanian infantry is bait, right? I mean, what is their defense? Their ground defense is 5. So these guys see that, and they're going to rip them a new one, right? They don't see this. Now, what's awesome is this guy comes out to attack this infantry, gets vaporized by the artillery. Now, this infantry sees these 2 artillery, but that's not enough, and this guy comes out to hit this artillery. And I think it's a beautiful way to pull both units out of the woods. And it just solves a lot of problems quickly. Once the anti-tank goes down, this position is secure. So, cleaned up that infantry. So the 2 infantry are out in the open, and I have Panzer IVs right there. I'm blocking. If anybody tries to attack me, I'm making sure they can't. I'm using Bricada's trick. Once you clear out a unit there, the anti-aircraft will go in, which is great. So on turn 6, I'm already engaging with the last... I guess that's the second counterattack. So this guy's just getting a lot of crap. And then the Pioneer goes south. I have a Panzer Jaeger to guard my flanks. I moved the 7-1 south so that the infantry couldn't reinforce. I kind of froze the enemy. I didn't know what to do. Now I'm blocking the bridge. So you can see I'm just mercilessly pushing through the south. And on turn 7, I start the assault. And we'll see what happens here. So now I'm just farming kills for the Panzer Jaeger. The artillery got a shot in. And that could go poorly for you. But it didn't, and that might be a one spot you have to reload. Is if Oladir gets in trouble there. For some reason the cavalry didn't activate, and I'm not sure why. So you can see I am seriously ripping the enemy apart in the south. And now I'm just running as fast as I can. So on turn 8, I've broken through. That's pretty fast. Here they come. So on turn 9, I break through on that objective. And now it's just fun and games on this side. I try to bait the cavalry. The Panzer III shows up. And now I'm offering up an auxiliary unit. And I actually should not have put I should not have put I should have honestly not shown myself there, because you're going to see a problem here. You could avoid what happened by just not showing yourself. Now that the cavalry have moved forward, the paratrooper can sneak in the back. If you don't show yourself, then you'll be okay. You don't have to worry about saving the cavalry. So you can see I have like 4 artillery pieces. So a mistake I made was pulling Oladir out. That could have been completely avoided. And you'll see why that was a mistake here. Because that infantry is active. So on turn 10, the final counterattack vaporizes. But I get hit because I'm out of ammo. The reason that happened is after they take a major hex, they have to attack. So if I could do it again, I would simply not park Oladir there. That cost me 68 prestige. It was the most... So I spent 126 prestige on elite replacements, and 68 of that was Oladir. It gives you a clue. That was just a totally unnecessary error. And now it's time to wipe out that artillery. So I'm farming that artillery for the Panzer IV. It's a really good idea. And now I'm free to go snatch some things. Now all this artillery is just going to rip apart the defenses here. Just look how clean this is. That was also completely unnecessary. So I took some damage on my scout. That was completely... I don't even know why I did that. I even snatched that hex, which was nice. And my Panzer III may be out of fuel, but it has ammo. Oh, I attacked with the cavalry. I got a little prestige out of that. So I got 12 prestige out of that. I'm trying to squeeze out some kills. So as you can see, I got these 3 hexes I didn't get, and these 2. So I got every hex but 5. So that was 60 prestige. And honestly, of the 128 prestige, I probably should have only had like... I probably should have had like 40 to 50 prestige and elite replacements, but I made a couple of stupid decisions. So yeah, you can do this on the cheap. Definitely under 100 prestige if you do it accurately. Very safe and reliable. You can farm and get lots of kills. The trick is to ignore the entrenched anti-tank. They're all passive. Only these 2 infantry are left with a counterattack. That's not a lot. Everybody else, of the original units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 units, and I think like 7 of those 11 units are anti-tank, so completely unimportant. I think this is pretty efficient, and it's definitely a prestige saver compared to what Bracada and Goose have shown. And this is definitely a map you can successfully farm and get lots of prestige on at low cost, so I recommend it. I recommend